Today's episode is packed. First, we are discussing the Nigerian government's new credit reform drive, linking credit scores to your NIN and what this means for your borrowing power.
Then we're getting into CBN's big move with open banking. The buzz is that your finances is about to get way more connected or way more exposed. If you spend money, borrow money, or plan to relocate, this one is for you.
Let's get into it.
What's good, hustlers and dreamers? Welcome to the Coins and Convos Podcast, the show where startup drama meets real talk.
I'm Books, here to spill the tea on who got funded and what businesses are making big moves.
And I'm Ella, your go-to for the behind-the-scenes scoop into the startup world.
So buckle up, folks.
Grab your coffee, your water, your juice, or whatever it is you drink.
Settle in and let's get into Coins and Convos.
Ready to roll?
Plug in.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of the Coins and Convos Podcast. So I think this episode is going to be an interesting one, but
yeah.
How are you doing, Books? How have you been? How was your past week?
My week was okay. Hi, Ella. Nothing exciting, honestly. And I hate that this is happening again because I think the last episode I didn't have anything exciting to say too. But something exciting happened.
Exactly. You said it wasn't exciting, but I was like, this is quite exciting.
Oh my god, I actually forgot. So I got selected as like a lead coordinator for one of the African Tech Forward Fellowship that I was part of.
Mm-hmm.
That was really big because I didn't expect everybody to vote for me. But I was really excited to see that my peers, voted for me. It was nice and exciting. Then I also won I've forgotten the tag. Something like fellow with distinction or something.
Oh, wow.
Something like best fellow, one of that person. So yeah, that was really exciting.
Congratulations. Let's go. Round of applause.
I guess, thank you. So that's like the next exciting. Oh yeah, I came back to Lagos. I just moved back to Lagos. So back to the hustle and bustle. And I'm seeing Ella again. And that's pretty much it for me. Ella.
Yeah.
You can't even
back
hide.
in the hustle mindset.
I'm back. But so what was the exciting thing that happened last week?
Genuinely for me, nothing major exciting.
What? Should I spill?
Okay. Let me say generally,
receipts.
I'm just coming back from like a little getaway with a friend of mine. We just went to relax. We went to Benin. It has been a year. It has been a year, so we just took some time. Benin is a really beautiful country.
Yeah,
so
I agree. I saw from your
relaxing.
pictures and all. I was just jealous. Like, oh my god,
My dear.
and you didn't invite me. I don't know what I did. What did I do to you?
I don't know why I didn't think of that, but anyway, it was really nice. It was like a cute thing just to get away.
Yeah.
Other than that, I've been back. Like it was just like having to like switch quick when you come back from to work, because I didn't take enough time off work to be able to like still spend time off work after the vacation. So I just went back into work mode. It was very jarring, but we're settled in now.
Sorry.
Everything is good. It's okay. It's fine.
Sorry.
We have to live this life.
I've actually never like traveled on a vacation. I've always gone on work trips. And it's just so annoying. I know the last time I went for my cousin's wedding or something, I was still working, so I didn't really enjoy the vacation or whatever it was.
Honestly, it's a different like mindset, like it's a different environment for like your mental entirely. Like when you're going and you know that there's like no work agenda. Honestly, it's really nice.
Wow.
Yeah, what do we have for you guys this week? There's a lot that has actually been going on.
Yeah.
One major thing I can say, has occurred is this new announcement that the Nigerian Credit Corp wants to, introduce credit scoring in Nigeria, and they're working on the infrastructure. Let's give some context, right?
Okay.
So, an agent of the MD of the Nigerian Consumer Credit Corporation, they call it Credit Corp, gave like a press conference or like a press statement outside the State House in Abuja a few days ago, essentially saying that their efforts in terms of consolidating credit information for Nigerians is taking full effect, is emerging very, very soon. They are working on a centralized infrastructure so that and a like a database so that every Nigerian's credit history is available, accessible, and they're going to need like obviously participants, right, from financial institutions and everybody that has financial data, banks and all of that, to keep that working. Their mindset in doing this essentially is saying that in terms of like the credit industry, your eligibility for loans and all of that should be based on your credit scoring and your credit, should we say, behavior, or your loan and lending behavior, and that's essentially what it is. But I think what hits us is really that it's going to be linked to your NIN. Exactly.
Full meaning of NIN. What's full meaning?
National Identity Number. So I think that's where, for me, brows were a little raised. Not like brows were raised in negative aspects, just there are a lot of things. There's a lot of places where you have to drop your NIN. What does that mean in terms of people that have access to your NIN, the databases with your NIN? How public is this infrastructure, this database that you're going to do?
Because you can't even trust anything that the government says they're going to build infrastructure. It's always, no offense, but always somehow behind. So how can we even trust that our information is going to be safe there? Was it like how many months ago that we're hearing buzz about, I think Verify NG or something, selling people's NIN to third parties or anybody that cares to access it for 100 naira, as low as 100 naira. So you literally just go on that website and ask for Ella's NIN and you pay 100 naira and you get it.
Are they like retro? Is it like this compliance? Verify NG, are they like for like due diligence? Is it for like...
It's not like all this KYC due diligence kind of stuff. I don't even know what... I have not really like gone deep into it, but like... So basically anybody can get information from there, and I don't know, it's just really ridiculous. So that came up, and imagine, I think because those people were able to bypass NIMS's infrastructure or something, but I know there are third parties that partner with all these regulators to be able to get access to data. But I don't think that Verify NG was one of those people. And people could just pay 100 naira. So I'm worth 100 naira now. I know that
your data is worth, like your sensitive personal data is worth.
And like our own system is so bad in Nigeria that your NIN is linked to literally anything.
Like your bank information, your financial information.
It's just crazy.
And I think where people were like, okay, so why can't we just use BVN? Why does it have to be NIN? Because every banked person in Nigeria has BVN. Most of the loan and credit app and institutions will request your BVN when you want to get loans. I know there are some that maybe they may not, because they want to make the loans more accessible. But with this new infrastructure where we're saying we're doing credit reporting, I think the BVN will be like a more ideal number, because I don't know how it works in the US, but I'm not sure your credit score is directly linked to your social security number. So, and I don't know,
but like, that's what people were saying, that because Nigeria is like, we are way behind in terms of infrastructure and everything, it's not going to be easy for us to depend heavily on BVN, because in the long run, again, there's so much that we cannot access with all these things. There's no proper database. Honestly, it's a long shot. So, and with
BVN, like changing information on your BVN is
inaccuracy.
Just honestly, is just a lot of inaccuracy. So, yeah, I do get. So
that. I think that's why they probably thought that NIN is like the best bet, because
more people have NIN.
Exactly.
And honestly, because the credit reporting is like for all Nigerians and not just banked Nigerians, I think there are more Nigerians with NINs than BVNs. Yeah. And if you're gonna have a credit score, every Nigerian, that's minors, children, and everything from birth, you have credit scores. I think the NIN would be more like a more realistic.
And that because of this, because Nigerians are very, let me not generalize, so many Nigerians are very dubious. So it's really, you notice that a lot of digital money lending companies are closing down now because people are not paying, or all these tweets you see about jokes on him. I've forgotten this name.
Lapo.
Oh my god.
Those Lapo tweets, they kill me.
And because again, regulators have been really clamping down on digital lenders that are sending messages,
breaching data, like
their,
it's like it's like the worst.
So it's
source
like
of data
everybody's not thinking how can they make money, and every new startup in Nigeria is about fintech, and they're not even making as much money as you'd expect. So I think that's like the major issue that they're trying to solve for. Because imagine a same country like in the US, UK, wherever, right? By now I can decide to own my own house and be paying a mortgage or whatever it is, and just pay little by little and stuff. But you can't work in Nigeria because you don't even have a proper system. You don't even know how to get your money back from people that lend and all that. So there's a whole lot of issues that are coming up with that, and I think that's why this credit scoring process,
it does have a lot of positives, I would say.
But again, the downside to it is that regulators don't test out these things before they push it out to the masses. So you can just do like sandboxes or something, just test out these things that you want to bring in. Is it really going to work? But because they've probably seen it in a movie,
well, maybe not that they've seen it in a movie,
or
maybe they've traveled, or they've seen that it works in other places.
You just think, we can do this, we can print it here, exactly. We can do this. They'll speak to one or two people. Fiam is already there.
But with the reason why it's like I had like an abrasive response to it at first is because I know that in terms of like sensitive data, I do not trust a public platform with that many Nigerians sensitive data, and I'm not 100%. Sure whether the platform is public. Actually, I know it's government, it will be government managed, but I'm not sure. Because this government registry, this government databases is as good as public, because if people can breach them easily, people can have access to them. So that's essentially what it is. But I do see what the goal is. They said that the country is in an estimated credit gap of 183 trillion naira. That is crazy. Recently, obviously, like you said, you've seen a lot of the loan apps, the microfinance banks. They are going the extra miles. They have foot soldiers going to knock on people's doors. They are emailing people. They are sending people messages, all people's contacts. Do you know, I've gotten like a few. So and so took a loan from our app, and it's just like,
please warn them. Please warn them, or I'm going
crazy.
to arrest them. All those really ridiculous, because but a lot of Nigerians actually struggle to like have access to the traditional credits that from banks and all of that. I have like a personal experience, not me, but someone close to me that tried to get a loan from the bank, and the ridiculous things that you have to provide. And that's why fintechs have now tried to come and fill the gap and say, okay, but even if you have limited, money, with the hope that you can pay later, but then there's limited bank data. There's limited way to say what is Ella's credit score,
or what is even her lending habits or her borrowing habits, right? What does she earn? Like, do we have enough financial data on this person to know, when she earns, if she's a steady earner, if she's an employed person, all of that. And I think this goes into like that news that they announced in April, saying that open banking is going to be officially launched in August.
But everybody's also scared. Like, how do we know that this infrastructure they are going to build for the database is going to be secure?
It's going to be secure, exactly. But the good thing with the open banking one is with your consent. And although we're saying it's with your consent, it's with your consent.
How would that work?
No, the thing is, yes, you may need to like click I accept or something, but it's just like when you know how it is when
how
they put
many
an
people
app.
even this one thing we're even discussing one time about digital public infrastructure. How many people, the real people that actually need these little loans, do they have access to mobile devices to even accept these things or consent to it? I don't know how it's going to operate yet.
I think there are a lot of people. I won't say like they're as much as the people that are, without cell phones, but there are a lot of people that they have access to, even if it's just like a small phone that they can use to get money from.
There are areas in Nigeria you would not believe that you don't have access to these things.
Yes, and I feel
even
like
internet connection, or even some people don't even know what email means or what Gmail app is. So how do they intend to make this
Are we
work?
saying this in terms of like open banking or in terms of credit scoring?
The consent about how we get to consent to
that. So what I think is in open banking, what I think is more like peer to peer, right? It's like me, I'm a fintech, I want to give you a loan, but I want to know your financial behavior, right? So I want to ask all the banks that you have accounts with, to share me your financial data, but I need your consent to grant me that. Now, that is one route, and I think on the other route is I just get your credits score, because now they're building an infrastructure for credit scoring. So I can either just get your credit score and that lets me know your credit worthiness and all of that, or we go the what do they call this thing, the open banking route, and then I'm asking for consent. So if you have a phone to be able to request a loan from me, then I think you should be able to. So that's why I think with this open banking now, would it make it like kind of like a second option now? Because once the credit system, like when the credit scoring system, is set up and everything is good to go, do we think maybe the open banking sector, maybe the open banking structure, it's going to work, or would it be necessary?
I think it's actually necessary, and I think it's going to work.
I agree, it will work. I think they can work independently, or they can, probably complement each other, kind of like a double check type
but
of
I
thing.
think for this to happen, I think that first regulators need to actually just put in more efforts to developing these APIs that are going to be used in terms of solving for security issues and accessibility and all of that, just to make it, because this is a big deal now. If you're going to have an infrastructure database that's going to house all this information,
it needs to be very secure, and it needs to be very accurate. There needs to be,
there's also the part of inaccuracy that what we're talking about, right?
And the implication of inaccuracy is it can be very detrimental. Like I was speaking with someone and she was just like, okay, let's say you have like a dormant account where they are debiting like SMS charges or card charges, and they just keep keep debiting everything, and then you have like a minus, and that goes into your credit scoring. I mean, in technical terms, it is accurate, but I feel like there are some sensitive things. The reality of the impact of that can be crazy. And I think that's where people are raising their brows, because like I don't trust the Nigerian regulators to be that particular when it comes to like scoring. I am afraid that it will be good for a minute, and then people will realize that their scoring is not as accurate as they want, and then we'll not have to fall back on open banking again.
But that if we don't test the waters now, there's no way we would grow. And but someone was saying one time that's the sad thing about Nigeria. So many countries have done test and run, so we can actually jump from A to Z and not have to worry. But no, we've seen the right part. We've seen that this is what they did. They have like playbooks and everything that they've done to show how they got to where they are. But we don't want to go through, so we don't even have to go through all those rigors. We just need to know this is what it did, implement these things, and we'll be good. But no, Nigeria likes shortcuts. We don't like to do
get
things
straight
by
to the
end.
end.
So that's the problem, because really we can have something that will work and will work seamlessly. Maybe a little hiccups here and there, but it will be good for us, right? So I think that's the problem also.
I think, can we like talk about like the positives? What would be the positives of having?
But we started with that now.
I think we started with the negative. I think the tone of this is like we're not really sure.
Okay, but like it was when we're having our conversation. So like I mean there are a lot of positives to this. It like makes everything better in a long run. And the big issue that we have in the country is access to finance and access to money,
loans and all of that. Like the credit systems in a lot of countries are so good. You can start financing cars. You live on loans. It's like a credit economy in the UK. You want to get a house, you need credit. If you have good credit score, you have the opportunity. The youth have better opportunities to like be homeowners and to have like property with proper
gotten a land
by now. Exactly, would have started doing that. I think also in terms of like the the interest on loans, they would be much lower when there's a lot of competition, because a lot of people will feel safer going into the market. Exactly.
Yes.
They will feel safer going into the credit market.
Because the interest rates that you see now with this digital money lenders is just ridiculous. And I'm not even going to... It's really ridiculous. And it's not their fault also.
True.
Because they have to pay a lot of things and money into regulatory compliance and building up all these structures, and again defaulters are not paying. So it's like you are building something and it's crashing just in the next means when you're trying to help people. But I think that this will solve for a lot of problems, because now I can access your credit score and know if I want to give you money or if I don't want to give you money, and it makes life easier for everybody. I can decide to get a phone now and paying bits.
Exactly. It will make
people
life
complain that
easier.
because we don't have access to infrastructure or mobile devices, that's why we can't do certain things. But imagine that you can also get all these systems now, whatever you want, and pay in bits, and so I think that it would actually go a long way helping with our finances and all of that. It would be like a major catalyst for inclusive credit, and it would also help fintechs to build better products, because everybody is focusing on a particular area, payments. People are even as much, avoiding digital lending, and it seems as though the regulators are more in favor of the consumers, because that's their first call. Consumer protection.
They should be. But this implementation, I think it works for everybody. And I think it will give more people in the fintech space a lot more confidence in, like, okay, yes, I know who we can set like policies where we're like, below this credit score, this is the benchmark of what you can get from us.
You start hearing bias. You start hearing this.
It's not about bias now. It's about data, right? If your score, and if that's why we really want to trust that the data is accurate, because if it's accurate, that this is based on your, it's based on what you can earn. Obviously, you don't have to say, below this credit score, you can get this. You can adapt for whatever. And if you need more complex financial information than just a score, then there's open banking to fall back on, where you can ask them, give us context to consent to access your bank accounts and see your, like, a clear picture of your financial behavior. And then from that,
and that just means that there will be a big growth in the ecosystem. For both banks, fintechs. The battle between banks and fintechs will now lower down a bit. Now, everybody has access. Everybody can build data-driven offerings.
I do think that banks are not gonna be huge fans. Maybe because it's just gonna make things easier for fintechs to
and
give out loans.
That's why you see all these traditional banks are trying to bring things in, like how fintechs are riding now. You see them even also pushing out POS terminals, doing different things just to stay afloat, because fintechs are
they are even supporting fintechs in terms of, like, they are backing them, like Wema Bank and helping everybody.
But you see that those ones that are
Titan
actually
Trust,
those ones that are actually partnering with fintechs now, and actually they are the ones that would stay afloat, because they are going to be top on the game, and they don't have to start running helter skelter at the end of the day. So I think, for banks traditional banks that are still trying to form boss and everything, they are the ones that may feel the heat the most, because for the most reason why they are still staying afloat is because of credibility. People think that because you can walk into a bank and they have a structure, they are more credible.
I mean, technically, and I'm pro bank. I will tell you, I'm pro bank anytime, because I think they are more credible than fintechs. They go through more stringent regulatory, scrutiny. They have more to lose than a fintech. We've seen a lot of fintechs wrap things up when things don't go well. There's longevity. So I understand that. I just think that making, credit accessible to, like, common people is not a bank's priority. They keep offering loans to, like, the people that are very well to do, mostly people that don't really need the loans. Do you understand? People that,
and you can't blame them too.
Exactly. Because they trust that, my money is gonna come back, and with interest. So,
it's a 50-50 thing for them. But I think at this rate, the best thing is just to find, like, a middle ground, and let's, push more on partnerships between fintechs and banks
yeah.
so that everybody knows that, okay, this is how we are operating. And I don't want to mention names of fintechs that are doing well because they have MFBs now in some sense. So people think, okay, since these ones have a bank, you know these ones that are actually very... so I think that's like... I don't know, that's like a middle ground that we can meet. But in the long term, I think this is a very good initiative. I just don't think that we have the infrastructure, power, and everything to carry it out yet.
With me, I think let's be hopeful. Let's see. Let's see what they're able to develop. I think what I would just really want to see is a lot of testing and a lot of security, like a lot of attention being paid to data security when developing these things. So if you really want the data you are collecting to be accurate, you need to put money into it. And I really hope that they don't spare expense or expertise when it comes to like accuracy, like verifying accuracy of this financial, data, and just to make sure that it works. If they do it well, it will really help a lot of youth that feel like, there's not a lot we can do in terms of like getting to that next level of like owning assets, owning properties, investing, and all of that. It can be that support that we need to be able to, move our lives forward.
Because so many people have different beautiful ideas but no capital to finance.
Exactly.
So I think that would be, and there's also the problem of the consent when you're speaking about open banking. Honestly, let me not go into data protection bits. But I think this is a good one. In terms of implementation, I don't know. I'm not going to speak for any regulator, I've always said. But let's see how it goes. I
think so too.
I enjoyed this conversation.
I did too.
Because it's money related.
And we do love the money conversation.
And I need money. Oh my god.
Exactly. So
I enjoyed this conversation.
This was a good one. On a different note, unrelated, very unrelated, and very
still very related, actually, not off topic, because everything is linked to. I know where you are going to. Everything is linked to money, capital, finance, and maybe we are losing money.
But front.
You're in Nigeria, you're still in this country, and you're not planning to leave the country. You're just being useless, or you're not.
It seems like maybe you don't have foresight, or you're not thinking long term enough.
You see your friends and your cousins or whatnot asking you, what are you still doing in Nigeria? What do you mean? What am I still doing in Nigeria?
What do you mean? Why are you here asking me this question?
They're not here. That's what they're asking. Okay,
I know those ones. Those ones that are dead.
But they genuinely care because they've seen and they've compared the lifestyle, and they're like, you deserve something better. But me, I'm thinking, do you know the problem, the emotional trauma that goes with? Do you know how many rejections we've gotten?
Exactly.
Do you know how you'd be a perfect fit for a job and you still get rejected
just because you're Nigerian? Exactly.
It has now become a thing that Nigeria is even like as if being in Nigeria and being Nigerian is like a disability on its own already. Because there's already like a what's the word? There's a way we're already profiled, and there's a perception that people have of us. So it's just crazy. So I hope this is a general response to everybody that asks me, what are you still doing?
Exactly. Nigeria? Just take this as a general response.
Yes, I am trying.
It's not easy anywhere. The conversion is crazy, especially if you want to go for studies.
Scholarships. If you're applying for a scholarship now, I bet you that 1 million other Nigerians, and I'm not joking, are applying. So your success rate is really like, it's just God, I beg.
Because they're going to see a lot of brilliant Nigerians, but they're not going to pick all Nigerians. They're going to have like a quote and be like, oh yes, we have people from other countries. We have to pick
other
one.
Regions too.
Exactly.
So it's just really ridiculous.
And then even the opportunity, the scholarships themselves are not easy to find.
Yes. So
then when you now find the one, you are battling with a whole lot of people. You're really qualified. You have what it takes. I mean, it's just really, really competitive.
The last one I applied for, I was so sure I was going to get it. I was like, small thing. I picked a small uni. Everything was good. I checked all the boxes for myself. Like, my reference letters were tight. And
fantastic,
everything.
Honestly.
My dear, I was in the market and I just saw, I'm so sorry. Oh, my God.
And you know what? It always comes in when, like, you're not even stable. Maybe you're in bed. It's a different thing.
Goodness.
If I was in bed, I would have been able to just lock the phone and cry. But
I was in the market.
You're in the market. You are moving from place to a lot of countries right now.
It's just crazy and it's really sad. I'm not going to give up, obviously, but there's a lot more opportunities in Nigeria. and let's try to. But now again, AI is coming to take our jobs.
Exactly.
So what do we do? I was just saying AI that wants to go and learn hairdressing or something.
They've told us, we need to get into our nail tech bag. We need to get into our lashes bag.
So you're fighting so many battles as a
Exactly.
Nigerian youth. Your parents at this age probably had a car and a house or something. But you have so many battles.
Or even if they didn't even have, they were on the path. Like, they were probably financing a house. I saw like a post recently of people saying that there's a new trend of Gen Z siblings buying houses and properties together.
I saw that too.
Because when are we not going to buy houses together? We're 26, 27. Our parents' generations were getting married. They were buying houses with their spouses.
Yeah.
People are not even thinking that, because what do they call it?
Two heads can make it right at this rate.
I'm telling you.
So
know. That's
as much as
essentially.
we're laughing at this situation, I don't even know how we pivoted to this discussion, but I'm so happy because it's sad.
It is.
I am just expressing myself in the best way that I can, but there's a whole lot of battles you are fighting as a Nigerian youth.
Yeah.
You are trying to get a job. You're trying to have like work-life balance. You're considering, should I leave the country? Should I stay in Nigeria? Okay, if I want to leave the country, which country should I go to? There's immigration issues. What else again?
There is
a lot of issues. I don't know. Like, I'm tired.
So yeah,
I speak for a lot of people.
Yes, it's not even a bit. It's very thin, and with the way things are like going on right now, with like the political climate and all the things that are going on, it's not just in Nigeria. It's like everywhere. There's something crazy, something that doesn't make sense that is going on everywhere. So it gets you a bit, incapacitated.
Nigerian youths are not sleeping.
We are everywhere. We are on every opportunity. You are not the only Nigerian.
Until they give you like database of the Nigerians that are applying for that thing, and you're like, wow. So every day you're fighting against 1 million other people trying to be the best.
Yeah.
And there's so many brilliant minds, so it's so hard.
It's really hard.
So I don't know. Please, let's close the discussion. Too many battles. This
started on more like a lighter note. Now, we've gotten into all our problems, but let's lift the spirits back up. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode.
Thank you.
Don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms, Coins and Convos. Comment, start conversations everywhere. We're always, looking forward to conversations like that.
Thanks for listening, and bye till we meet at the next episode.